This is AI Marketing Experts, where bold marketers and next-gen AI collide. Each week, join us as we decode trends, test tools, and share real wins from the AI-powered front lines. No fluff, no hype, just straight talk and smarter marketing. Tap subscribe, and let's geek out on AI.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Brad Kilgore here with another episode of AI Marketing Experts. I am here with my favorite experts today, Laura, John, and Jen. Chris is out doing something adventurous, I'm sure. Not sure where he's at today, but I know he's having fun. He probably has a 40-pound backpack on in the Texas heat. Who knows? But we like to bring value and keep it real for everybody and hopefully give you nuggets for your business. So be sure to subscribe, follow, share the AI Marketing Experts YouTube channel, podcast channels, all that good stuff. So we're glad to be here. So we're going to kind of kick it off today with a subject that we feel is important as the AI landscape changes, which it does consistently. And then we're going to kind of have a jam session at the end of, some of the latest things that are happening in the AI world. So Jen, do you want to kind of kick us off today of the general subject?
Sure. So today we're talking about should you infuse your business into the AI? So basically talking about things like using it for branding. When last week we talked about training the AI on your business. So we're basically expanding on that. What can you do beyond branding? Lots of things is the answer to that, but we'll go into that more. Does that?
Yeah. Oh, very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, John, on some of this?
Yeah. So we're in a funny world. So you can see I'm a little remote. I'm at a conference some of us were at, AI centric. This is what we do. We stay plugged in, keep learning, things changing rapidly. We'll get into that. But yeah, years ago, you want to make sure that your copy that you put out there, emails to your clients, anything you're building, even team documents and stuff like that. You want to make sure all of it is very targeted to your company, and that used to be a pretty hard thing to do. Nowadays, you could have that deep conversation, give it documents, give it information, let it scan your website, all that kind of stuff. Build that brand voice, build that avatar, build that information on your company, and then have it even spit out a brief and use that brief every time you're writing copy, every time you're creating a script, so we'll talk about a million different ways you can use it, but you can now really, really put your identity, your company, your local market. We're all in different parts of the world. If you're a local business and you're talking about, my area, for example, there's a big Mennonite Amish community and stuff like that. So if you're talking about that in your marketing and for a local business, you're a carpet cleaner, you're a roofing company or whatever, you want sort of that local hometown feel as well. And you could put all of that into why you started your company, with the area you're in, all that, and then have that infused into every social media post, every email that you use AI and GPT to write for you. You make sure you bring this in. And now it's writing from your perspective so much sharper than just generic dribble that we typically get out of AI these days. Is sort of just a watered down, bland version.
Exactly. And I would say that as we feed our branding information and our product information in, we can even look how the engagement has been impacted. So for the post and everything that had higher engagement, ask it to maybe follow more of those guidelines. To your point about the branding of our companies and such, we got to think about our products too. Sometimes it's one of the hardest things we can do is to describe our products. And we have to remember our audiences also change. So some of them, if we're talking to, especially with the agriculture world, some of them, if we're manufacturers or we're dealing with more engineers, we need those pieces to be very technical. And that might not be where our staff or the staff of any marketing company is comfortable. But now we're able to change the tone and the voice to be more technical, or take technical items and make them more user friendly to attract other people of interest, other growers, other areas. And to your point, John, it might be that you're you might need another language. So that is something too that you can start considering is now branding can be easier. Now, again, we're going to reiterate over and over again. This is AI. It's just to move us forward faster, but those human touch, the human review, making sure that it does speak engineered language or the technical as you need it, or if it's in Spanish or Dutch, that it is actual Spanish or Dutch for that region and it makes sense. We're going to have that human review it, correct it, and make sure that it's appropriate before it goes out. But boy, the things you can do with your tone, you can make one witty and then one very serious and then one more based on story base, whether it be your pieces that you're putting out, pieces that you're putting online, any of this stuff, you can see how the engagement changes based on the tone because you've trained your AI on not only your business, but yourself.
I was going into doing more brand work. And one thing that got me, I was working on basically a brand vibe document. I wanted this kind of, well-written vibe document. And I'm terrible about writing things like that. Ask me to write something that's closer to like a textbook. Okay, I got it. I can do that. But something that's more just creative and thoughtful and that's, I'm a thoughtful person. I just mean in that case, it's just not my jam. And this brand vibe was amazing. Really going in depth about this. It's a consultancy that I'm doing it for, and just the depth that it had in that brand vibe document was something that that I know I couldn't have done, but I don't know if even like the best person on my team, I think for that, I don't think that they would have come to that level either. And so, yeah, one thing I've been thinking about is that the businesses that aren't using AI to go deeper and to infuse their business into, what they're putting out there, like they're competing with those of us who are using it, and that's definitely going to create more of a divide.
Yeah. What do you think, Brad?
Well, I think that everybody had some great information so far, and I agree. Jen is very thoughtful. Well done, Jen.
Yeah. Well, we talked about there a couple episodes ago, so go back and watch them if you haven't. But where we did an example of just a basic prompt, which we all start with, and then using a crit framework and getting all the way down the rabbit hole into custom GPTs that are trained. There's layers beyond that, just so we all know. And we'll talk a little bit about later with the difference between GPTs and projects and things like that. But there's also things where you can build a master business document. And so this is getting a little bit more advanced, but if you're thinking you've got everything about your business kind of generated into this master document that you feed into a custom GPT that knows everything about you. And so when you're asking questions, it's got, the company structure, the history, the story, the competitors, like all the stuff we're talking about, but it's built in a very structured way. Maybe again, it's markdown language. Again, we're getting a little geeky there, but, or JSON files if you're using, not ChatGPT directly, but the background of OpenAI Playground, and to make an agent, if you've got it put in the right format, or you have somebody that that works on this stuff like we all do and teams that do that, and you go that extra layer deeper, you're not going to have those thoughts where, well, I've tried AI, I've tried to write some stuff and it just kind of comes out basic. It is the great equalizer. And we'll say that every episode. It's like everybody can catch up quicker to more content. First mover advantage, great, but that's slowly slipping away already. It's the great equalizer. That how do you stand out? Well, you stand out by being way better trained. The old computer days, garbage in, garbage out. AI is the exact same thing, right? So yeah, this what we're talking about here is just really teaching it at the next level and watch what comes out in anything you're building.
And one thing to kind of keep any of our listeners moving forward is you think of even your own audiences. So yes, we love our content writers on our staff. And I know many people listening are either very talented writers or have those people already working for them. So if they take one piece of content, and for the med spa industry, for example, they can take just a basic, XYZ, here's what program we have, here's what solutions, and then think of how you can change that up for different age groups or different activity levels or different audiences just from that. Same with carpet cleaners. You can be saying, again, is it busy parents? Is it an older couple? Is it, newlyweds? Whatever. You can go ahead and tweak that to speak. So it's one great source of content. And a lot of people are just like, I wrote my content on AI, which is a great starting point. But if you have those experts in your arsenal, you're able to take what they've done, put it on, spin it, hit Brad's many different audiences, or, as we talk about our different audiences, they can go ahead and take it further. And then again, their experts in their marketing department can review it, and they now have taken one piece and amplified it to reach so many others.
Very true. And I think that as business owners look to embrace using AI for their marketing, it can be so daunting and it can be so intimidating to say, okay, what our friends on this show are talking about sounds good on paper, but how do I really do it? And so, you like John said, you can hire experts to help you and to create custom GPTs or custom things to use. But a couple things I would recommend is there are some different tools out there that make it even simpler. I won't make a whole list of software today of the different things, but there's a lot of them out there that really will emphasize how you can integrate your brand voice and plug it in there one time, and then be able to create social posts or blog posts or pages or whatever it is, or PDFs, or for to give out at your business, whatever it is. But what I'm saying is it's changing so fast that literally a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months from now, who knows? We might be sitting here saying, well, what we talked about, at this point is like, okay, that's old news now because it's changing so rapidly. And but don't be intimidated by it. Get somebody to show you how it works. Go to YouTube and start researching some of it. Obviously, we're sharing things on YouTube, but there's a lot of information out there of how to do these things, and a lot of it is getting simpler and simpler, I think.
And I think we'll get back to doing, obviously, we've got a few builds scheduled out. And one thing that as they're starting to play, one thing that we would encourage as experts to not only play with your prompts, play with asking it to regenerate it again, because that too makes it stronger. Don't just accept the first thing that comes in. There's a button right below the answer that you can go ahead and click and regenerate it. The other thing that you can click is changing the models, because based on what the information you want, changing the models will give you crazy different answers. And so that kind of gives you an insight as, wait a minute, maybe I'm not using the correct model. So use the drop down in ChatGPT, especially now, since in custom GPTs, you can change the model. That was a huge, huge move forward to allow us to do that.
And you can change the models mid same chat. So think
True,
of
yes.
say you start with a deep research, get a deep research, go away, have a coffee, come back. Like sometimes it takes a while. Have it do a really deep research on a topic. I did this just recently for some property investing and did a deep research on the whole nature of investing in multifamily properties and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff, and walked away, came back and said, oh, cool. Now that you've got that, switch model. And because I don't need deep research anymore, now let's take that plus this problem I was trying to solve, and let's take from everything you've just researched above, let's take that and answer this question. And it's a much more focused answer because it's based on the context that it just came up with. So it's kind of honing it in without having to build a custom GPT around it or anything like that. It was just a better way to answer a problem. And one other thing I just wanted to add quickly that just came to mind before I forget it. We all like, so Dan Kennedy, if you've ever been in any marketing world at all, Alex Hormozy, Dan Kennedy, Jay Abram, all that, they all have their own different ways of explaining or telling you to swipe and deploy, which doesn't mean steal. It means look at something outside of your industry, look around, see what other people are doing, and can you adapt that? Can you make it work for you and your unique business? So if you think of a carpet cleaner who looks at a really great referral offer by a chiropractor, right? And you take that and you've got your whole brand document ready and you say, hey, here's who I am, upload that piece. Here's this great email, this great ad, this great whatever. How would we rewrite it for my business? Interesting that you've now given it the two pieces of context it needs, the one you like, and it's going to figure out the tone and the style that you might not even realize why it resonated with you, and then adapt it to your industry and spit something out, and then you can iterate from there. But in 2 minutes or less, you've done what used to take hours of thought.
Right. Well, and I think at a very granular, simplified level too, when you're using an AI tool or LLM, you could do something as simple as say, I'm looking to create a blog post, for example, or a video script or whatever it is. Instead of doing some of the more advanced things that John mentioned with custom JSON and markup and all these things that most people are like, I have no idea what that is. You
Sorry about that.
literally could say, I would like act as a professional copywriter and write me a 2,500 word post. And it's going to be roughly about this subject, but feel free to make it a more viral title and subject matter. And here's a link to my website. And so because the AI and most of them now can look at that and say, oh, well, we can see that this is a carpet cleaner in Alberta, Canada, and he serves this, this, and this. This is his services. He's been in business since 1922 and all these different things. All that stuff can now be pulled into whatever you're creating. The other thing I was going to point out is you have to remember in a lot of cases when you're using AI tools is you're literally having a conversation with somebody. So just think of it as your marketing assistant, for lack of a better word, or whatever you're using it for. And usually when it delivers what you've asked for, it's going to say, do you want us to expand on that? Do you want us to create this? Or in your beginning prompt, you might also say, let me know if you have any questions for me. So think of it as a conversation, when you're using it at a very basic level to where you're talking to it, you're asking things, you're telling it, hey, that looks really good, but you forgot that I am in the Inc. 5000 and I'd like to have that in the blog post. And by the way, we give free candy to kids, or whatever it is. So just talk to it, put those types of things in there and you'd be amazed at what it'll spit out. But again, you have to be cautious to see what it produces. I know yesterday or recently, ChatGPT, for example, had a major hallucination and people are like, oh my God, it's breaking. This is what's going on. But we also know that they're putting out some huge updates in the next few weeks too. So who knows what's going on the back end of it. So just read through what you produce because it may say we give something besides free candy to kids. Who knows? Maybe it gives them poison apples. I mean, so you got to make sure you review it.
Yes.
I wanted to mention the models again, really quick to Laura's point. When we're doing things, we're switching models to see which one does better. And when you're in there, you can if you click the drop down, this is for our listeners, it actually tells you what the models are better at. And so
great point.
Like O3 is great for a little bit more of like an analytical mind where maybe 4.5 is something that people want to use if they, are really getting more, creative or, something like that. So try the different models out. And also know that at this point, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the newer ones tend to be more expensive not in your monthly amount, but in the tokens that they use. Yeah. And so there's I know I got a message in ChatGPT that said if I wanted to continue using 4.5, I need to purchase extra credits for it. which was the first time that I saw that. That was just yesterday. And so it was like, oh, well, maybe we're using 4.5 too much. I don't
Yeah.
know, but
Jen's a power user.
That's right.
yeah,
So,
not that
and what a
everyone.
dovetail on that is I was on a call with a bunch of contractors doing in indoor air quality space, and I kept getting the question, well, John, how do I learn how to do all of this stuff? Which, and again, I'm sorry about the voice because I was like, oh my god, ask ChatGPT. Say, how do I start using you? Teach me. And it will. So your point about models, go read it for sure. But then if you don't know what model to pick, ask ChatGPT.
Yes.
Hey, here's what I'm trying to do. Here's what I'm actually looking for. What would you suggest as the model? And it will even tell you, well, this one's more expensive, but it might give you a better answer. Or you could just start with this one and see what the output is and whatever. And it will give you the nuance you need for that moment. So once you start leaning into it, and when like us, when you start geeking out on it all the time and you use it all day long, you just start asking it what you should do. And even if you open a side chat, but I do it right in the main chat window. It's like, oh, what do you want? What should I do next? I'm trying to get you to do this. Well, maybe you should try this and this and get me to, because it can help you help it. It's weird, but you can use AI to learn how to use AI.
And
Yep. I love asking it, which model should I use for this?
Yes.
When I'm
Yeah.
like creating a something, when I'm working with ChatGPT to create a prompt, that I find that asking about which model is the best for that particular prompt is helpful.
And I think two things that need to be mentioned is, again, we mention ChatGPT a lot, but we are not ignoring the other things out there. We are using Claude and Perplexity and Grok. And so, again, ask those models as well. How can I better use it? Because you do not want to assume that you've taken one thing to another. Each one is different. And I guess one way that you can think of it as how we use TVs, with whether you're on Netflix or Prime or, what you do, use them differently, so we have to think, okay, we're engaging these different streaming services differently. And that's, I think, helps people understand, because that's a more common thing that everybody seems to have gravitated to. The other lesson that I've learned is, to your point, think of what the end result you want it to be, but think of any of these LMs as your employee that's brand spanking new to they don't know anything. So if someone's walking in your door, you've just hired them, stop and think, what do you want them to accomplish, and work backwards from it. And you can do the exact same thing. So you can ask ChatGPT or let them know, hey, I want that 1,000-word blog, or I'm trying to reach this audience, or whatever the end goal is, and then work your way back no matter what. Yes. What?
And
John's
no,
so
by the way,
excited.
here's my employee manual. Here's back to the dovetail is back to the beginning of the conversation.
Yes.
Here's my employee manual, what our company's all about. Of course, you walked into a job and had an employee manual and learned what the company was about, and took 2 or 3 weeks to figure out, oh, the founder was this and this was that. That's what we talked about at the beginning. Teach it that stuff as if it was the employee. Great connection there.
Yeah. You cannot throw our hands up. I mean, even if we say, everybody listening, we're going to give you access to a Fortune 500 CEO, and they're going to come in and run your business. Guess what? They will not be able to run it unless we start at the basics. And we have to remember, we have to teach, whether it be human or AI, what we want to, them to do. And then they'll just be able to do it better.
I think that's a great segue into, Brad, if you want to go, like, what are some of the things that have come out this week? Like, I mean, we've kind of talked about all of what we're doing, but we talked about, we're saying ChatGPT. Laura just said, and we do kind of get into that wording, but Perplexity just launched a browser, right? And Grok just coming out with Grok 3 point whatever. What is it next? And, you know what I mean? It's like, Grok 4. So, what's new? You're always tapped into all the new stuff. What's going on?
Yeah, and and take it with a grain of salt. The AI world changes so fast, and our episodes may not hit the channels day one for when we record them before we edit them. But like John said, there's so many things changing. Perplexity is a very popular LLM. Has you can get on their wait list for their browser called Comet. GenSpark, which is an up and coming, and Jen probably already has it.
I do.
And GenSpark has a browser now for Mac computers, and PCs coming next. They're saying that ChatGPT 5, is that what it's called, is coming out with their own browser very soon. So think about it. not only are we using it on our phones now, I'm sure that Gemini is deeply baked into so many things now too. But think about now it will be, so much where it's literally in your browser, whether you're on a laptop or desktop or a phone or whatever. But now, you're talking to it. You have the ability to do so many things now where you can have AI look at your computer screen, walk you through things, show you how software works. I mean, it's an exciting time because so many things are changing. So, what else have you guys heard lately?
I was going to bring up the YouTube, there's that conversation going on about faceless video and how they want to ban it or will be banning it or have banned it. And it just to clarify that it means that we have to be putting out great content. You cannot just automate this and say, great, it's done. It is something that we are experts. I mean, anyone listening to you are an expert in so many ways. And we just have to remember that it does take effort to put the videos out. You don't want them just to be white noise that's populating your channel, or else it may disappear. So keep that in mind. Just take that effort and put out great content. You may not, I know in one of our episodes we talked about, automated videos versus not. It's just that keep in mind if you're doing a faceless video on an automated program or in an automated way, that may be harming you versus helping.
Right. And I think kind of where they're going with that, at least my understanding is a lot of people produce a lot of video content and then you're able to monetize that where YouTube sends you a check because you're putting out a lot of content, you're an influencer, those types of things. So I don't know that you're necessarily going to get banned, but if you are trying to monetize your content like so many people have, and it is like Laura said, very spineless and very, just fake, then you probably, if you were making $5,000 a month on YouTube, you're probably going to get a pay cut.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's real value, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to provide real value to the marketplace. We all love our tactics and ways to rank and things like that, and they all come with a risk. But if you're providing real value to your audience, whether that's in home service, how to take stains out, how to care for your upholstery, how to care for your carpets. In my world, how often should you clean your area rugs, stuff like that, and you're giving real value and your brand voice, like we talked about it, other episodes, and your actual, your history in the company, and you're doing it really, really well. Then it's going to get engagement. It's people are going to enjoy the content, and then you're not flagging anything anyway. So it's when you're trying to be just thin and spammy, just like spinning articles and putting out dribble. It's that the point is be real.
Right. Or what were you saying earlier about Instagram, Laura?
Instagram, we just have to keep in mind that now any Instagram posts are going to be available for search results. So again, gives you another avenue, especially if your persona tends to be on, or your ideal customer base tends to be on Instagram. That's huge value. So again, think about what you're putting out there, who you're speaking to get the right clients and customers to actually contact you. That's huge.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I was watching some things last night at 30,000 feet on an airplane as I was watching somebody on YouTube. He was explaining how you don't have to have a massive amount of followers on YouTube, but you need to produce good quality content so you do build an audience, even if it's a smaller audience. They are attracted to what you're producing. So again, kind of like what John said, some things are changing, but at the end of the day, it's quality over quantity and being concise. So you can use AI to create your scripts. You can use AI to create your content for written, for images, all these different things. It fits into all of it, whether you're doing Instagram or YouTube or just putting things on your website. You can utilize and leverage AI and all of it now. And I don't remember the exact words you guys said, but it really will help amplify and speed up what you used to do. But put your own personal spin on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And don't forget, go ahead, Jen.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that it's important to remember we're really in a stage that things are dramatically shifting. And so for those businesses who were business as usual for a long time, not creating content or doing a little bit, but not a whole lot. Like this is a this is a huge shift. Like that time when you could grow your business without doing content. I mean, I would say that it's that era is dead. I don't know if that's going too far, but um, if you want to grow, you have to be creating content, and AI does make it so much easier to be able to do that, but you still need to actually do it.
Yes.
Right.
And one of the when I was doing some research about content and everything, they were saying that the rate of AI is consuming content so fast that soon we're just going to be regurgitating the regurgitated content. So what will keep marketers ahead even more is taking our own personal content. So still looking around what your offices are doing, how you're interacting with the growers, how you're, who's coming into these shops, who's coming into the med spas, who's coming into the carpet cleaners, and asking if you can just take that personalized content and then use AI to build it up and then build the blogs and et cetera and all the assets to it. That is the new content that AI will be looking for very, very soon. So it's needed. It's needed. We just cannot say, oh, it's all out there. We're just going to keep, asking AI for what should we post this week. We're going to have to still put our own personal touch to it.
Right. I had an experience a week ago where I was working on creating a video script to explain what I was putting together. And so what I did is there's something out there that somebody else is doing. They're not in my space at all. They're in a completely different business model, but they had a message that was compelling to me that made sense. So I literally took the transcript from their YouTube video, which you can do, and then I put that into an LLM and said, I'm looking to put together my own video script in this vein. Please make it customized to what I offer. And it was literally able to review that transcript, go through the whole thing, and then produce something for me and tell it, okay, I want to, it's going to be a 5 minute video or whatever it is. And it spit out a script that had nothing to do with as far as what that other video was talking about specifically, but it had all the nuances of what I was trying to emulate. So it wasn't plagiarism or anything like that, but it gave me that foundation. So if you're starting out, and you're looking like, well, what do I talk about? Look at what's out there, go and see what's number one on YouTube or what's number one in Google search and go, okay, these people are putting out some really good content about, these things that they offer. Look at what they're doing, and then ask AI to emulate that or to modify that based on what your brand is.
Exactly.
Yeah, at the end of the day, good marketing always is good marketing. You can't hack your way through that. These are just tools to make things faster, but you have to understand nuance and marketing and split testing and really good stuff. Like it's got to be done right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think we need to echo again our own personality test. I know a lot of corporations have their employees go through different personality tests, and 16personalities.com offers a free one that anybody can go use. So even based on, like Brad was saying, then he said, I want the same kind of message, but I need it in my voice. Yes, we started out talking about brand voice. We've over the different episodes, we've talked about your personal voice. You may want to get your team involved, and they might say, wow, this just
Good
doesn't sound
idea.
like me. Have them either do a personality test of some sort, and then with that code, drop that in. And it is amazing how the same story can be told differently by the person in different, wearing different hats within the company, or the ones that deal with different areas of, the business. And again, you're engaging in different manners, because each of us know that maybe the same video, whether like the conferences that we were at, we hear it, but we all hear different things, and different speakers resonate with each of us. So I think we need to keep that in mind too, is get your team involved, and dropping their voice in the AI of your business brand may surprise you as to the engagement, how it pops.
Yes.
Great
Awesome.
idea.
Well, I think we've probably reached the top of our show because at some point we could talk all day. I know our friends on the show very well, but we want to keep it brief. We want to keep it valuable. and we want to hopefully make a difference in your business. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up for this week. Again, be sure to follow AI marketing experts on your local your podcast channels that you like. Follow us on YouTube. Share it. Share it with somebody that might need to learn some things as well. And we're always here to help. Reach out to us personally. And hopefully this was helpful for you. And we'll catch you on the flip side.